Hello. So this presentation is going to go over our emergency response and evacuation plans at Celanese while you're working with Furion. Today we're going to learn what constitutes an emergency and how to respond when an emergency alarm occurs. So what's an emergency? It could be an operational incident either at our plant or at Ascend. It could be a fire, an explosion, a material spill. It could be someone needing emergency medical treatment. Severe weather like hurricanes or tornadoes, or an act of violence like bomb threats or workplace violence. Our plant contracts with Ascend to provide emergency response services like firefighting, confined space rescue, hazmat spill response. Furion employees may not use fire extinguishers. We are limited to notifying Celanese employees in the case of a fire. Celanese employees may attempt to extinguish with one extinguisher. Larger fires are to be handled by Ascend. So I would reiterate that if you see a fire, and we've had this happen before where one of our employees was driving past like an extruder, saw it on fire, you're supposed to stop what you're doing, go and get a Celanese operator, and then they can use a fire extinguisher to put it out. Celanese and Ascend share the same alarm system. Alarm boxes are placed throughout our site. Each box has a unique number which tells responders where the emergency is located. The pattern of alarms will repeat 4 times. The alarm boxes activate horns, buzzers, and chimes for site-wide notification. The alarm system also notifies the site when it's necessary to assemble, shelter in place, or evacuate. Here's an example of one of our alarm boxes. You can see this emergency pull station box. You can also activate the alarm system by dialing extension 77111 or using the radio emergency channel Ascend 1. So we have 4 assembly points on our site, and you should go to the closest one to you depending on where you're at. If you are working in the base plant around the material handling rubber loading area or the packaging lines, and an assembly alarm goes off, you should go to the control room in the base plant, and that is called assembly point A. Assembly point B is also in the base plant, and that's for those who are closer down to the maintenance office or receiving areas. Assembly point C is if you are up by the offices upstairs, and you're going to go to the 801 training room. Assembly point D is the 803 control room. So if you're working in the warehouse or you're from the shipping office, you're going to go over to the WW8 control room over there. When should you go? So we have different alarm boxes, and they have these codes as listed. These are the codes that are for assembling. You don't have to remember them though, because your badge will come with a card that has the different codes and what you should do. And we're going to have an example of that card in just a second. So what do you do when you hear an alarm? You want to stop what you're doing. So if you're operating a forklift, stop it, pull out your badge and count the tones. If the tones match our specific hot alarms, report to your closest checkoff point. If the alarm is 9 double blasts or 114, 118, 862, report to your closest checkoff point. For 114, 118 alarms, you want to shelter there. Those are the severe weather alarms. If the alarm is 1212 repeated or 9 triple blasts, you need to evacuate the facility and go 90 degrees away from the wind direction. All forklift operation is to be shut down. If an alarm requires you to muster, go to your assembly point and wait for direction. Every employee at PSEP has responsibility to protect themselves and others around them during an emergency. No one should place themselves in a position where they could be harmed in an emergency. Non-production personnel and visitors working in the plant or office after 4:30 or at a time not normally scheduled should report to assembly point D, which is the WW8 control room. So if you happen to be upstairs and an alarm goes off during the night or over the weekend, you want to go to the control room at WW8. So here's an example of that card that will come with your badge. You can see on the left-hand side, you have the response alarms. and on the right hand side it gives you information on what to do. So for example, if you hear 9 double blasts, like beep 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 beep, like that in succession, that's going to be the assemble alarm. That's where you'll want to go to your closest assembly point. If you hear 9 triple blasts, beep 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 beep, and continued, that's the evacuate alarm, and that's when you will evacuate Crosswind to the Ascend Gym parking lot. So yes, anytime you hear an alarm, pull this out and check and make sure it's one of our alarms. If it's not one of our alarms, then you are free to continue doing what you were doing. For evacuation routes from the 800 building, use the exit door by the North Maintenance Shop or the exit door by the receiving office. So if you're in the base plant, you're going to follow the group and go out the exit door by the North Maintenance Shop or by the receiving office. For the 801 building, which is the top building, you're going to use the south door by the training room or the front lobby door by the lobby. For evacuation from 802, you want to use the clay truck gate or the emergency egress located between 801 and 802, south of the smoke booth area. For evacuation routes from the 803 building, we want to use the clay truck gate. In the event of an evacuation, all employees of PSEP will assemble at evacuation point A, which is the Ascend Gym parking lot. So some safety rules. All traffic must pull over to the side of the roadway, turn off the ignition, and stand by in their vehicle until the all clear has sounded. So if you're coming on site and you hear an assembly alarm, pull to the side and stay in your car until you hear the all clear. If the vehicle must be left unattended, the keys are to remain in the ignition. This is so emergency personnel can move your vehicle if necessary. Emergency vehicles have the right of way at all times. Non-essential personnel are not to enter the emergency area until the all clear has sounded. We discontinue hot work and confined space entry immediately. If the all clear has not sounded within 45 minutes, hot work and confined space entry permits are voided and must be reissued. Absolutely no smoking by employees, contract personnel, or visitors. So during a hot alarm, it could be an assembly because of a flammable gas. And in that case, we don't want you trying to smoke or do anything that could potentially cause a fire. If the area must be evacuated before instructions are received, all personnel must make decisions with safety as a priority. Do not evacuate in the direction of the emergency. Evacuate, if possible, at a 90-degree angle to the wind. Use plant windsocks and flags as directional indicators. You want to use your senses, such as sight. Watch out for and avoid vapor clouds, smoke, fire, and spills. Sound, travel away from unusual noises. Odor, be aware of unusual odors during a hot alarm. So the main thing that we want you guys to do when you have an alarm is when you assemble in those rooms, you need to badge in. There's a badge reader in each of the control points. Make sure you badge in, and then once you're in there, we need you to be quiet. There will be an operator in that room with a radio who's trying to communicate and get instructions from the control room. And if you are talking amongst each other, it is hard to hear. So once you badge in, you are to stand in there and be quiet. If you see anybody else talking, ask them to be quiet as well. You're going to, like I said, evacuate. Our assembly point is the Ascend Gym parking lot. Do not go anywhere else. Go only to the gym parking lot. The reason being is you could put others in danger. If someone needs to go into, if we don't have a count of you and we can't find you, they will send someone else in to find you, and you could possibly be putting them in danger. So during an alarm, we make sure we follow all these rules to keep everybody safe. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.